how so I completely understand your point of the casteism was not there. It's been what do you say, glorified, sir. But if you look at people like Basavanna, like in our region, like Karnataka region, the
Uh-huh.
Lingayat region, sir. So the people talk about he was a guy who was reforming us. So according to you, how much exactly was this this casteism? How much exactly was it? I know it's glorified, but can you please tell me how much exactly it was?
Sure, sure. The true facts are unfortunately shrouded in mystery. Okay, you are mentioning Basavanna, who is said to be a great reformer. I am not aware of the story of Shri Basavanna ji, so I cannot comment about that. But the main issue that you're asking about is this issue of casteism. Did we have casteism, and to what extent did we have casteism?
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
is
That's
true.
what's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true that if you go to the 19th century, the 20th century, before 1947, even after that, there looks like there has been casteism. Even if you go to rural areas today, there is this us and them sort of thing, discrimination and so on, right? So when did this actually emerge? uh, you have to understand that the past 1000 or so years, Indian society has been under foreign occupation. Okay, and when a society is under foreign occupation, it is being persecuted and brutalized. It doesn't function the way it has organically evolved to function. It functions in a very different way, and all kinds of defects and problems enter the society. They become part of the society, and if this continues for centuries, it becomes part of your culture, so to say. But it was never originally part of your culture. So the question we should be asking ourselves is this: that in the year 500 AD, okay, 500 AD, what was the situation like in India? In northern India, southern India, east, west India, did we have casteism? We did not have casteism. We had the Varna Jati system. See, even if you go to places like, let's say, the UK, okay, in in the UK, you have these surnames like Fletcher, Thatcher, Arrowsmith, Smith, and so on. A Fletcher is a person who who installs feathers on arrows. That's a hereditary occupation. Thatcher means somebody who puts thatching of the roofs of houses. That's a hereditary occupation. So even in England, and if you go to any other society, you will have the same thing. You will have these hereditary occupations that are passed down through in families and communities. So that was the same thing as the Indian Varna Jati system. Okay, and there is nothing wrong with that. Any well functioning society organizes itself, and there is division of labor. And whenever a certain family or community becomes a specialist, it starts specializing in certain skills, then it will try and ensure that these skills are passed on in the same community or same clan or family. That is not casteism. It is just the way the society was organized organically, naturally, over centuries and thousands of years. Now, if you go back, let's say 2,500 years before today, okay, we're talking about the Mauryan era. So there was this Greek ambassador who came to India. His name was Megasthenes, and he was the ambassador at the court of our emperor Chandragupta Maurya. Uh, and this was in Patliputra, and he wrote an account of Indian society from a very tactical perspective, very militaristic perspective. What kind of nation is this? What are the resources it has? What are the geographical boundaries like? What is the kind of society they have, and so on. So he writes. His account is called Indica. It is lost, but there are many other accounts that refer to it. That's why some of the information has survived. So he writes, Megasthenes, that Indian society is divided into seven classes. Seven classes, not four. We think of the Jati Varna system, but in 2,500 years before today, it was organized in seven classes. So you had merchants, you had warriors, you had traders, you had uh, priests, obviously Brahmins, and so on. So it was seven divisions that he mentioned. I don't remember them all. So you have to understand that society organically and naturally evolves over centuries and thousands of years. But what's happened in the past 1,000 years is not natural evolution. Society was under tremendous constraints in the past 1,000 years, and lots of defects did enter society. But we have to understand, look, when you have a company, I give this example many times. Let's take the example of the company called Apple. So Apple was founded by Steve Jobs and uh, Wozniak, right? Whatever his first name was. And until for a certain time it was under the control of Steve Jobs, for more or less, and it did very well. And then Steve Jobs was expelled from the from the company, and then the company essentially went to the dogs. Okay, it was doing very badly, it was on the verge of bankruptcy. And then Steve Jobs comes back and he takes the company again and revives it. So when the company was performing very badly, it almost went bankrupt. Who was at fault? Was it the employees or was it the leadership? It's always the leadership, right, that you will blame for a
Yeah.
company going to the dogs. So similarly, when India in Indian society got so many defects that entered into it in the past 1,000 years, who was ruling India? You have to ask that question. Our society was not designed in this manner. So yes, we have issues. Any society has issues. Today we have issues that are the consequence of the past 1,000 years of foreign occupation and brutalization. India is a society that suffers from amnesia and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But because we have also amnesia, because our historians don't write the truth, so we don't know how
Yeah.
all these problems happened. So that's the point I would like to make, that we don't know exactly how much whether there was casteism or not. As far as we know, there wasn't that. And whatever divisions of society existed, they evolved organically like they do in every other
Hmm.
society. But our historians, that
Hmm.
they make us feel that there is something inherently wrong with our society and civilization, and that
Yeah.
we are a very backward in all that civilization, which is absolutely wrong. We are probably the best civilization that ever existed.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I would like to say to you in response to your question. A very good question, sir. Thank you so
Yes, sir.
much.
Yes, sir. Sir, just one short,
Thank you.
just a mini question, sir. Sir, as I'm an engineering
Sir,
student, I'm
sir,
really
excuse me,
curious
sir.
about.
No follow-up
Sir,
questions, because there are lots of people waiting in the line, hundreds of people who want to the
okay,
live chat.
okay,
So
sir.
I'll only take one
Yeah,
question per
sure, sir.
person. But you asked a very good
Okay, sir.
question, so
Thank you,
thank you
sir.
so much. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.